second specific situation that we need to discuss or that is available to us for the purpose of valuation is the startup entity's valuation. And as I said in the beginning, whenever you and I have to do valuation for a specific situation, so first of all, what we need to do, first of all, we need to list out the peculiarities of a specific situation, company for whom we have to do the valuation. So we need to understand what is a startup entity. A startup entity has a legal definition. We'll discuss that. What is the purpose for valuation of a startup entity? Obviously, the purpose for valuation of a startup entity is infusion of equity into the company so that the startup can be progressed. Valuation of a startup or young entity is difficult and challenging. Why? Because not much information is available about a startup entity. Please remember, when I say not much information is available, that means even the product which the startup is going to have is many a times is completely unknown product. The promoter or the technocrat or the entrepreneur, he has got some thought in his mind and he thinks if this thought is implemented and commercialized, then this idea, this thought will help the end consumer and they would be prepared to buy the product. So this is what the entrepreneur has in his mind. And remember, it is in his mind only. It is not even on a piece of paper. So therefore, the peculiarities of a startup is that there is not much information available. But please remember, it doesn't really matter. Whatever may be the peculiarities of a startup entity, the basic rules of valuation will still remain the same. Meaning what? Meaning, in case of valuation, you still have the income approach available, market approach available, and the asset approach available but may not be relevant. And why asset approach may not be relevant? Because in case of startup, remember, invariably, they have hardly any intangible asset and definitely not when they are beginning. So, and in any case, the value of a startup will not come from the value of the assets. So the value of Flipkart doesn't come from the assets owned by Flipkart or by Oyo or by Swiggy or by Zomato or by InMobi or by Lenskart. So the value of these companies do not come from the assets that they own. Value of these companies come from the service that they give. And please understand and remember, not only service, the value of all these companies and all the fintech companies come from where? Value for all these companies and the fintech companies and the startups come from the product that they give, which is removing inefficiencies from the system. IRCTC getting so huge valuation. Why is IRCTC getting so huge valuation? What are they doing? They are only a platform where you can do the online ticketing. So what is so great about it? But if you think, you will realize that there is a huge value which IRCTC is creating by removing inefficiencies from the system. How the IRCTC is removing inefficiencies from the system? How are they generating convenience and ease for the end customer? And I'm sure you can understand. Let me give you this example. Before IRCTC, if you and I had to travel to any place, you know what we would do? You and I will either have to make a call to our travel agent and ask him to do a booking to a place that we would like to travel to, or we ourselves will go to the railway station, stand in the queue, wait for our number, and then book a ticket. If you are fortunate, by the time your number comes, you will get your reservation. Otherwise, it is also quite possible that reservations are over or you will have to adjust. What is IRCTC doing? IRCTC has made it possible for you to book a ticket sitting in your home, in front of your laptop or mobile or computer. You click few buttons, you are not only able to book the ticket for the location that you want to travel to, but it also gives you all the possibilities of traveling to the destination. It gives you all the options, all the choices. It gives you all the information available. And remember, you do not have to travel to any place. And sitting at your home, you are able to get your ticket. What are you saving? You are saving the time in travel that you would have spent in going to the railway station. Quantify that time in terms of value. You are saving money that you would have spent on petrol in your vehicle that you would have traveled to. Quantify that in terms of money. You might think, what is so great about it? अगर मैं अकेला जाता हूँ रेलवे स्टेशन तो कितना वैल्यू होगा उसका? Now remember, it's not you and I alone who are doing this. Millions of people are doing the booking every day. Convert this cost, this amount saved on petrol, saved on time in terms of money. Multiply this amount with millions of booking that is done every day, and then multiply this with 365, and then multiply it for 10-15 years, and then convert it in terms of using the two-stage discounting model in terms of the present value, and you will know that the why is IRCTC, which came out with a public issue about 2-3 years back, is today going over around 1600. What is the reason behind it? This is the reason behind it. So remember, in case of startup, it may be a startup, but the rules are going to be same. Income approach, asset approach, income approach, and the market approach. Asset approach may not be so much applicable. We only may have a challenge in arriving at the future cash flows as not much information is available. So that is the typical problem in case of startup valuation, because promoter को खुद मालूम नहीं है कि मेरा what kind of value I'm going to create. So that is where you have a difficulty, you have a challenge. And remember, that is where our expertise as a professional valuer is going to come for our help. Not only for our help, but also for the help of the promoter. With discussion and continuous, probing, we can really help the promoter also get more clarity about the concept that he has got in his mind, and make him understand what is the real value of the idea that he has. So that is what we will need to do. Okay, so some more peculiarities of a startup. Entrepreneur with a supposedly an idea which is worth $1 million and too much of over enthusiasm is the peculiarity in case of a startup valuation. Only concept, nothing else known about it. So दिमाग में concept है लेकिन उसके ज़्यादा कुछ मालूम नहीं है. Not much information available. Most of the things, not much information available about the startup. Promoters may not be finance savvy. You and I will understand what is leverage, what is equity funding, what is cost of capital, what is CAPM. You and I will understand how the values are arrived. You and I will understand. The promoter may not have understanding, or invariably will not have understanding of finance. Promoters may not have any idea about the project cost and subsequent profitability. कितना खर्चा होगा, he may not know. How much revenue generation will happen, he will not know. How much cost will need to be incurred every year on different heads, he will not know. And he is in tearing hurry. So whenever you have some startup entrepreneur coming and approaching you for valuation, and you can see that he is in a tearing hurry, उसको लगता है कि अब ये मेरा $1 billion का जो आइडिया है ये कल से चालू होना चाहिए, कल से मेरे पास में रेवेन्यू जनरेशन होना शुरू होना चाहिए. अगर आप उससे चर्चा करेंगे, उससे डिस्कशन करेंगे, उससे अगर पूछेंगे तो उसको लगेगा that you are trying to create hindrance in his thought process. But this is the psychology of startup entrepreneurs. Now all yes men are his friends. Anyone who questions him on his idea is an ignorant person. So जो स्टार्टअप का जो प्रमोटर है, जो एंटरप्रेन्योर है, अगर आप उसको यस करते जाओगे, यू आर अ डैम गुड पर्सन. अगर आप उससे क्वेश्चन करोगे कि ये कैसे होगा, वो कैसे होगा, तो उसको लगेगा ये आदमी को कुछ मालूम नहीं है, लेट मी गो टू समबडी एल्स. Such companies obviously do not have track record of performance nor any predictable cash flow. So these are the peculiarities of startup entities, friends. Now the question is, what are the constraints in case of valuation of a startup? Firstly, these firms have not been in existence for more than 1 year. So invariably आप देखेंगे जो startup जो आपके पास में आएंगे valuation के लिए, वो hardly they have been in existence for a year or so. Secondly, their financial statements reveal hardly anything about components of their assets. So whatever P&L and balance sheet they might come with to you, you would see that not much can really made out of those P&L and the balance sheet. And thirdly, these firms often represent first of their kind of business. So I'm sure you can understand. तो उनका जो आइडिया है, वो जो कंसेप्ट है, वो एकदम नया है, मतलब उस तरह का चीज पहले कभी हुआ नहीं. ओयो, you can understand, Swiggy or Uber or Ola, first time when they must have come out with their idea, I am sure a lot of people must have laughed at them as to हिंदुस्तान है ये, कौन जोमेटो के थ्रू माल खरीदेगा, कौन स्विगी के थ्रू माल खरीदेगा, कौन बिग बास्केट के थ्रू माल खरीदेगा, क्यों बिग बास्केट को पैसा देने का, जाके हम खुद ही लेके आ सकते हैं दुकान से. तो this is the typical of a startup, because many of these startups that will come to you for valuation, their product or their concept are completely new and only happening first time. Now, how do we do the evaluation in case of startup? So number one, you can use the market approach. Market approach is more relevant and more plausible in case of valuation of startup. And that's where you can use the PORI or the PORT if the information is available. So PORI is price of a recent investment and PORT is price of a recent transaction. So if you have some information available about PORI, something which has been done in the recent past, some investment which has been done in the recent past, or some recent transaction that has been done, if you have some information available about these two things, then you pick up those information, make adjustment for the changes that may have taken place between the PORI and the PORT and today. So जो development हो चुका है, वो development को आप जो पहला valuation उसमें factor in करिए, and this is how you can arrive at the new valuation. So one is, you can use the PORI and PORT for the valuation of startup. Secondly, you can of course do the comparable transaction valuation. So that is what is you can do. The only problem is that many times we are not talking about the big startups, but many of the छोटा startup होते हैं, उनके बारे में information may not be readily available in any case, and that's where it might become a challenge. But for that particular entity, PORI and PORT can definitely help you arrive at a right valuation. Then you can of course use the income approach. But the problem in case of income approach, please remember, and which is the case with all the fintech companies, which is the case with all the IT based the startups, the gestation period is too long. So most of these companies, whether it is Swiggy, or it is Zomato, or it is Big Basket, or it is InMobi, or it is Lenskart, or Ola, or Uber. Now all these companies, friends, today if you see in the market, their valuations are running in billions of dollars. But if you look at their P&L, you will see that these companies are making huge losses. And therefore, there may be a bit hesitation in terms of using the income approach. But I would feel that whenever you're doing the valuation of any entity, let alone startup, you must bank on the income approach. And in income approach, since you're doing the startup, and I'm sure you can understand, in case of startup, income capitalization is of no relevance. And why income capitalization is of no relevance? Because in case of a startup, there is no past income available. Since there is no past income available, income capitalization has got no meaning. You can't use it. So you can use the discounted cash flow method. And remember, in case of most of these startup companies, the cash inflow will start turning positive maybe after 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, and that is what can happen. But once it starts becoming positive, then it will really shoot up. And therefore, when you do the evaluation of a startup company using the discounted cash flow, you will see that the terminal growth rate is going to be exorbitantly high. And why it's going to be exorbitantly high? Because the profitability of a startup company will suddenly jump after 5, 6, 7, 8 years. And why? Because a point will come in the life of a startup company where the fixed costs have become negligible, because all the expenses that could have been incurred on the fixed assets in building the infrastructure, in building the network is all done. So वो जो एक्सपेंडिचर वो सब बंद हो जाएंगे और वो उसकी कॉस्ट ऑलमोस्ट नेग्लिजिबल हो जाएगी या बहुत कम रह जाएगी. ऑपरेटिंग कॉस्ट रहेगी, and that means your variable cost will be there, and plus there is a sizable increase in the number of users, and as a result of that the gross contribution amount is going to increase phenomenally, and that means the profitability is going to increase phenomenally, and that is what you should remember. And so use the discounted cash flow method in addition to the market approach. Cost approach in case of a startup in my view is not again feasible. Why? Because startup है और startup का जो value है is not based on the assets. Startup का जो value है it is based on monetization of the concept, of the idea, of the service, of the product that the startup is going to produce. So therefore I would feel that the cost approach may not be relevant. And friends, this is how you will do the evaluation in case of startup entities. So in case if you have any question, please ask me, else we go to the next topic.